whole games and this. Oftentimes I wonder, how in the world did you become a professional at jumping through 5 different flaming rings of fire? Yeah. And where do the rings go after this game is over? And this timeout's only 60 seconds long. You know what I'm saying? It's
I like the China Bowl lady. She's impressive. You could ride a unicycle and flip dishes on top of your head while riding a unicycle, and I've never seen her drop them once. I want to ask her, how'd that come about?
That's my curiosity, is what were you good at to think that what did you naturally have an inclination to do well?
Belief.
Was it like your core muscle strength to be able to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, were you a gymnast and like that was like, you know, one day somebody dropped the bowl and you caught it with your head? I don't know how
Eddie Murphy once famously said, you have to believe, man. When nobody else does, believe. He goes, that's how you wake up one day and you cut on the TV and there's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And
Welcome to the greatest show on hardwood.
Left side of the circle, it's money, cold, hard cash for Stephen Curry.
The NBA champions are back to defend their title. And it starts now. This is Warriors Live.
Holy cannoli, this is crazy.
Presented by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
It is Warriors Live, and it is the Warriors and the Houston Rockets coming up here from Chase Center. John Dickinson with you for the next half hour as we get you set up for this one. The Warriors looking to continue their winning ways on the home floor and win in the second of a back-to-back as the Dubs handling business less than 24 hours ago right here inside Chase Center as they beat the Chicago Bulls 119-111, improving to 12-11 on the season. Back-to-back for the Dubs. It's a back-to-back for the Warriors' opponent tonight, the Houston Rockets, as well as the Rockets come in at 6-16. That is the second worst record now in the Western Conference. The Rockets have moved out of the cellar, a place they've been in for a good chunk of the first quarter of this NBA season, but the Spurs have lost 10 consecutive games, and the Rockets have won 4 of their last 10 games, including a victory last night in Phoenix. So that shows you how dangerous this Rockets team has the potential to be. They won last night in the Valley of the Sun 122-121 in a wild game, a game that the Rockets trailed by as many as 16 in before coming back, grabbing the lead in the fourth quarter, and then hanging on to win it down the stretch, withstanding 4 opportunities for the Rockets to lose the game there. The Suns had 4 shots at it in the closing seconds, including a couple from Devin Booker. Miles Bridges missed a layup, and so the Rockets come in playing even better basketball than when these two teams met back on November the 20th in Houston, where the Warriors at the time picked up their first road victory of the season against the Rockets in a game that the Warriors jumped out to a 40-28 lead at the end of the first quarter and wound up winning that one 127-120 in Houston. So it is Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity Internet, better streaming with our Flex 4K device, voice remote, and Peacock Premium, all at no extra cost, no strings attached, as the Warriors trying to keep things rolling here on the home floor in this one, and they will do it without Klay Thompson as we now get to our injury report brought to you by Boxer and Gerson. Injury report brought to you by Boxer and Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. And you look at this one on the injury report. No Klay Thompson in the second of the back-to-back, as he has missed all of the back-to-backs that the Warriors have played in this year, the second portion of those back-to-backs. So nothing new as he continues the right Achilles tendon injury management. Andre Iguodala, left hip injury management as he continues his ramp up toward the beginning of this NBA season for the Warriors. But no Klay again for the Dubs in this one. Looking at the injury report for the Rockets, No Eric Gordon for them, as Eric Gordon not playing on the second night of a back-to-back after playing 28 minutes last night and scoring 10 points in Phoenix. He is out with a groin injury management. Jayshawn Tate is out as well in this one for the Rockets, as the Rockets attempt to win for a second consecutive game. So that your injury report brought to you by Boxer and Gerson here on Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. So with Klay Thompson out, that means Jordan Poole is in, and there was a little bit of news in the pregame press conference from Steve Kerr with regard to Klay Thompson. About a month ago, Steve Kerr was asked, I want to say it was before one of the Sacramento games, I think. So it was about a month or so ago where Steve Kerr was asked about the fact, would Klay Thompson play and what would the plan be for him to play in back-to-backs this season? And at that point, Steve Kerr said that he really probably wouldn't play in all likelihood in any of the second game of back-to-backs or both games of a back-to-back set. You can always rest somebody in the first half and then let them play in the second half. But in the pregame press conference today, there was, and I think this is pretty interesting, a little bit of a shift from Steve Kerr as he was asked about the plan moving forward and if that was still the plan. And Steve Kerr had said that the hope now, after talking to the training staff, would be for Klay Thompson to eventually play in back-to-backs at some point later in the season. So that marking a shift from what had been stated about a month ago. And I think it's interesting because I wonder, and Steve Kerr deferred to the medical department and the physical performance and training staff of the Warriors as far as Klay's still going to be getting a good workout in on a lot of these nights. He was out on the floor as I walked past going from the pregame press conference over to the studio here where I'm doing Warriors Live, and he was out getting some shots up and getting what would be a more extended workout than a normal pregame workout for Klay. And the sentiment was that was to just, all right, let's see how Klay feels. He's not going to be in the game. And Coach Kerr intimating that a lot of the not playing in back-to-backs is more just precautionary and not necessarily totally based in the science of that it is a must every single time. And I think it sounds like the medical staff is a little bit more open to that than maybe they had been in the past. And I wonder, because I could see, and look, I don't want to get totally into Klay Thompson's head or anything like that, but I could see Klay Thompson being the kind of guy that would not exactly be happy about Steve Kerr a month or so ago effectively ruling Klay all but out in both ends of back-to-backs for the entire season when the season had just started. And at that point in time, Klay was really struggling. And he was really taking it hard. His belief, I think, inflated that he was really hurting the team even more than he was, and kind of snowballed into that funk that he really hadn't snapped out of until about 2 weeks ago after the team meeting and in the game against the Knicks. His best game of the year, by the way, to date, was that game against the Rockets on November the 20th, where Klay went off early and ended up with a season-high 41 and 10 of 13 from three. And the Warriors needed a lot of that to be able to beat the Rockets in that game in Houston. That was also a pivot point for the Warriors as far as their bench group goes this season, because that was the game in which, after just a brutal second quarter and the Warriors bench gave back what was an 18-point first quarter lead to where the Warriors were only up 2 at the half, Steve Kerr put Draymond Green in with the second unit in the second half of that game, and they held their own at the beginning of the fourth quarter in that one, and what was a close game, and a game that the Rockets had built a 9-point lead in after trailing by 18, and that was the beginning of the stabilization of the Warriors bench and Draymond Green being inserted in it. So it was the first true Klay breakout game of 2022-23, which has led to better days for the Warriors, and also the night that Draymond Green went in to help anchor and stabilize the Warriors bench as well. But I could see Klay not being happy about it, being effectively ruled out. I think, the minutes restriction was so hard on him, and you really got the impression that while he fully trusted the medical staff and what the team doctors and everybody was saying, that he really was also frustrated by it, and to think that there would be no end game, essentially, as far as ever playing in back-to-backs this season or ever playing in back-to-backs ever again, I would imagine might have frustrated him to the point where he had a conversation with the coaching staff, or he had a conversation with the training staff and some of the doctors and said, hey, is there a way to make this thing happen? Is there a way to where I can work and get to a point where I can play in back-to-backs again? Because I think if you're Klay Thompson, who is used to playing just about every game right up until the point he had the 2 major injuries, I think that would be a box that he would not want to be left unchecked as far as his return and everything of the like. So I think that's something to monitor for sure, but I do wonder and find it fascinating as to what came first, the chicken or the egg in this scenario, as far as what came first between Klay maybe going to the training staff and saying, is there a way I want to get back out there, or the training staff just being more open-minded to it. Because my thought on it and belief on it was that it had just been accepted that Klay would not play in any back-to-backs for this season at all, and that everybody would be on board with it and be cool with it. So something to monitor to continue to move forward. I'm sure it'll be something that'll be asked about and reported on a little bit more. But no Klay Thompson, all in all, for the Warriors in this one tonight as the Dubs take on the Rockets here on 95.7 The Game. It is Warriors Live. John Dickinson from Chase Center, sponsored by Xfinity, as the Warriors trying to bounce back off of a win last night, a win that really wasn't a pretty win for the Dubs against the Chicago Bulls. A lot of fouls. Foul trouble got the Warriors' rotation jumbled last night, and they were really, at times it felt like they were out shooting their mistakes, knocking down 23-pointers out of 50. Defense was really good in the second quarter. Defense was good in stretches, although not great throughout the evening. And you had a lot of turnovers, 20 turnovers. I mentioned last night on Warriors Wrap-Up that the Warriors were able to offset the 20 turnovers with the 23-pointers made. And then Draymond Green has just been phenomenal of late as he continues to find his voice and be a key component to the Warriors' turnaround here over the last 13 games, where after the 3-7 start, they've improved to 9-4 in the last 13, which gets them to 12-11, and they've been even more dominant than that on the home floor. As the Warriors, you look at it now, 10-1 on the home floor. One of just 2 teams in the Western Conference with double-digit in home wins, and one of just 5 teams in the NBA with double digits in home wins as well. 9 consecutive games for the Warriors on the Chase Center hardwood have been won. Longest winning streak since an 11-gamer last season, October 30 to December the 3rd. So that string coming to an end a year ago on this date. And the Warriors 10-1, again, 6-1 against the Western Conference. And the Rockets nearly beat the Warriors in this building last year in January when the Dubs were in a little bit of a funk. And that was the Steph Curry buzzer beater game in January, where the Warriors really looked like they were going to be in trouble and maybe dropped that game after they had dropped one to Indiana. The Warriors then got very hot at that point in the aftermath of Klay Thompson's return. But we saw it in that game a year ago. We saw it in the game a couple of weeks ago in Houston. The Rockets' athleticism and their young backcourt really have the potential to pose some problems for the Warriors. Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green as well. Jalen Green going for 30 last night and getting to the free throw line a lot. Now, a couple of things that the Rockets do, and they did last night, they get to the free throw line. They forced 28 Phoenix fouls last night. They shot 43 free throws last night, and we know when the Warriors haven't been going well, a large part of that has been the fact that they allow teams to get to the free throw line at an extremely high rate. and the Warriors allowed the Rockets to get to the free throw line 27 times in that game that the Warriors ended up winning by 7 in Houston going back a couple of weeks ago. What else do the Rockets do well? They can force turnovers, but they are a really good offensive rebounding team as well, and that can be another area that at times can be problematic for the Warriors. Rockets number 1 in the NBA in second chance points. They're second in offensive rebound percentage. They're 4th overall in rebounding. So if you're missing shots, if they are missing shots, you really got to block out, clean the glass, and prevent that athleticism, which gave the Warriors trouble in the first meeting between these two teams. Try to. This has got to be a skill game for the Warriors. And that was a game where the Warriors hit a ton of threes themselves in that first one, 24 to be exact. And that really wound up saving the Warriors in that game on that night against the Rockets. But yeah, Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, you gotta look out for those two. Jabari Smith Jr., the rookie as well. He had a nice game last night in Phoenix with 17. And keep the Rockets off the boards the best you possibly can, and off the offensive glass the best you possibly can. They had 21 second chance points in Phoenix last night, 13 offensive rebounds, and 62 points in the paint. So they get to the basket, they get to the free throw line. A lot of it hinges on the guard play of Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green. John Dickinson here on Warriors Live, as we are sponsored by Xfinity Internet. Better streaming with a Flex 4K device, voice remote, and Peacock Premium, all at no extra cost, no strings attached. As the Warriors, again, real opportunity for the Dubs here to continue to move forward and solidify themselves in the West, as they've been playing much better. Talked about a couple of key games last night and earlier today on Warriors This Week. As you look at the matchups, and there's already a game that's gone final, Sacramento today blew out the Clippers down in Los Angeles. Predictable outcome. Kings have been playing well. Clippers, same old story for them. No Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard. They didn't even have Norman Powell in this one today as well. And they had nothing for Sacramento, who continues to just rack up the points. And they scored 123 in blowing out the Clippers, led by 30 in this one, 123-96. And we talked about it in the context of this tight little window where the Warriors got the win last night. They got the Rockets in tonight. This is a game the Warriors need to get and should get if they play at a relatively high level, even with Klay Thompson out. And that gives them another shot. With the Rockets beating the Suns last night, they've gained a game on Phoenix. They can gain another half game on Phoenix. They gain on the Clippers now as they continue to move their way up in the Western Conference. And Utah and Portland are playing later tonight in Salt Lake City. And the Blazers have lost 3 in a row. Utah's won a couple in a row after really hitting a cold spell. But somebody's going to lose. And so the Warriors are going to continue to gain. The Dubs right now can tie with the win tonight the Clippers for 7th in the West, and with a Jazz loss they can actually move up to even 6th in the West tonight as well. So the Warriors have found it a little bit lately, and now they're starting to take advantage of the fact that really there are so many teams within really a game to 3 games of the 500 mark. When you look all the way up at Sacramento, 12-9, and right now 12-9 is good enough for 5th in the Western Conference. So the Warriors are on the come, and I think you can see a lot of other teams really trying to sweat a little bit, at least starting to sweat a little bit, with the fact that the Warriors haven't exactly played their best basketball, yet here we are with them hot on everybody's heels as we head into the deeper part of December, and a couple of winnable games for the Warriors tonight and on Monday. No game is a sure thing. Rockets winning last night in Phoenix will tell you that, but a great opportunity for the Warriors to keep stacking wins, and especially keep stacking wins on the home floor here in this one tonight. All right, time now to take it to the bank. Who's going to be taking it to the bank tonight for the Warriors, sponsored by Fremont Bank? Full-service banking, no compromises. Talked about Klay Thompson being out, which means Jordan Poole goes into the starting lineup. Jordan Poole last night, 30 points in the win over the Bulls, 3rd outing of 30-plus points this season, 14th game of his career. And Jordan Poole, we know, loves to start. Jordan Poole loves to start, and this will be the 5th start of the season for Jordan Poole, and he is averaging a cool 28 points per game in his starts. Team high 30 last night. Warriors needed it with Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins in foul trouble and only going for 19 and 12 respectively. Klay Thompson getting to the basket in the mid-range game, salvaged what was a rough shooting night from three-point land for Klay, and Jordan Poole, an efficient 30 with 7 3-point makes last night. He's my take it to the bank prediction. Another big game from Jordan Poole. You can almost pencil him in for 28 to 30 when he's in the starting lineup, and he is going to be in the starting lineup with Klay Thompson out, and I think that's a very good sign, especially against a young Rockets team that can struggle to defend from time to time. The Rockets giving up about 117 points per game, and so, yeah, Jordan Poole taking it to the bank tonight. Our Take It to the Bank prediction sponsored by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking, no compromises, as the Warriors and the Rockets get ready to roll here tonight. The Dubs with 7 straight wins over the Rockets, as the Warriors have won the last 3 consecutive games against Houston on their home floor here inside Chase Center. And the Warriors are going to try and continue that hot spell again in this ball game tonight. Final couple of minutes as we roll on here. Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity Internet, better streaming, Flex 4K device, voice remote, and Peacock Premium, all at no extra cost, no strings attached. Make sure you join me after the ball game as well, as we'll be talking about this one, taking your phone calls, your text messages, instant reaction to the Warriors and the Rockets on Warriors Wrap-Up following the ball game, as I'll be coming to you live here from inside Chase Center and looking at exactly where the Warriors are and where they could be with another win and some of these other teams playing each other in the Western Conference. Talked about Draymond Green and the level that he's played at to this point, and he's gonna put the pressure on the Warriors with the way that he's played to really make a decision. And look, there's no rush, but he is putting the pressure on the Dubs to pay the man and to figure out how they can potentially pay the man and keep the luxury tax in order and all of that. But he has been, in a lot of ways, working with Steph Curry, the straw that has stirred the drink for the Warriors in this young season, and the defense has been tremendous. And you look last night, a near triple-double for Draymond Green in the game last night for the Warriors. Second double-double of the season. But, yeah, 13 points, 10 assists, and the 5th time this season he's dished out 10. He's just been in the middle of everything. And last night, even hitting the 3-ball, which is something that he's done. I think it was 7 in the last 8 games. He's made at least 1 3-pointer. We know the Warriors essentially don't lose when he ends up with a triple-double. They essentially don't lose when he knocks down a couple of threes and scores into double digits as he did last night. Team high plus 20 and 13 points for Draymond Green and doing it in an efficient manner. And the Warriors just rolling, and Draymond has been just tremendous through the first quarter of the season, and the Warriors have needed it. And the one thing that's helped the Warriors right the ship here over the last month is the fact that they have remained relatively healthy top to bottom, and I think Draymond has fortified himself, as Steve Kerr mentioned last night in the postgame press conference. Will tonight be another night where the Warriors are able to shoot the basketball at a high level? 20 or more 3-point makes for the Warriors in 3 of the last 4 games, which is the first time in franchise history and just the 11th time in NBA history a team has made at least 23s 3 times in a 4-game span. It feels like the Warriors have done it a lot, and they've needed to do it a lot, but they've done it 5 times this season. They've made 20, including that first matchup with the Rockets, and so able to do that last night and really needed it to offset some other mistakes. So we'll talk to you after the ball game with Warriors Wrap-Up, as that will do it for me, but stay tuned. It's Tim and Tom They've got the call, and they'll get you set up for this one as the Warriors and the Rockets go at it for the second time here in the first couple of months of the NBA season. I will talk to you after the ball game, taking your phone calls, but keep it locked right here in your home for Warriors basketball, 95.7 The Game.
Investing is confusing. Dawn raids, triple witching hour, candlesticks, crown jewels, bears, bulls, bear hugs, blue chips. It's one big word salad of uncertainty. Fortunately, Fremont Bank now has incredible rates on their savings accounts and CDs. And while savings accounts and CDs may not be known for their great rates at your current bank, at Fremont Bank, you can get great rates from a great local bank. To learn more, stop in or visit us online. We'll explain it all in plain language. Fremont Bank, serving the Bay Area since 1964. Member FDIC.
Where can you smell fresh pine from the curbside pickup line? Lowe's, actually. Explore the holiday fun and check off every gift on your list during Winterfest at Lowe's, where you can save $100 on a Blackstone 30-inch flat-top grill, now